Joined right now by Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland, a Democrat from Washington State, part of the new Democrat coalition, which released a plan to fight inflation. I want to talk a little bit more about this, but I have to first ask you, the president keeps touting how strong the economy is. A recent Harvard-Harris poll finds 56% of Americans say that they are worse off financially now. So is there a disconnect between the economic factors that the president is pointing to that show the strength of the economy and the everyday experience of American families?
Yes, there's definitely a disconnect, and it's a contradiction because on the one hand, the economy is strong in the sense of unemployment being down. We're having a hard time finding workers to fill jobs. We know that the, again, unemployment rate is down, wages are actually up, and at the same time, families are feeling this in their pocketbooks. We know that the price of gas is high, the price of groceries have gone up, and so it's a bit of a contradiction as far as having a strong economy that's almost too hot, and then how that increased demand and supply chain challenges is affecting the way people feel every day when they go out and buy goods.
What is the new Democrat coalition's plan to help average Americans, everyday Americans who are struggling now to afford gas and food and everyday household items?
Yeah, so the new Democrat coalition formed an inflation working group, which I'm part of. And, we're about solutions, trying to solve problems, or as even the previous segment said, there aren't problems, there are solutions. And so we're working very hard on trying to get some policies passed, everything including how we look at tariffs, because when tariffs are high, those prices get passed along to consumers. We're basically looking at, what does an average family have to pay just to live? We know that housing costs are skyrocketing. So we're looking at local zoning and trying to incentivize local government to change zoning so that we can build more housing. We're looking at the supply chain. So really taking a very comprehensive look at what's happening. But I also want to, remind us that, a lot of the reason that we are here right now is because of Vladimir Putin's unjust war and how that's affecting the global supply chain. So we're working very hard to come up with solutions. We will vote tomorrow on an act that's going to lower the price of food, and working with our agriculture community. We have, passed the stop gouging consumers through oil and tax companies. And so we're doing everything we can as Democrats to vote on solutions and to say yes, instead of doing what Republicans are doing, which is trying to create wedge issues and score political points and not focusing on the fact that we have a national crisis. We should all come together and work on this.
Well, let's come together on this topic about the war in Ukraine. The supply chain issues have, in some cases, actually improved in this country following a couple of years of really dire circumstances for many industries. Is the war in Ukraine and Russia becoming increasingly a scapegoat for our financial issues here in this country?
Oh, no, it's not a scapegoat at all. I mean, the reality is the economy is hot because we put a lot of cash into it, but we cannot deny the fact that the supply chain has been affected by this war. And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can domestically to improve domestic production, to get rid of, any sort of regulations that get in the way of us manufacturing more things, but always having a focus on safety. And the other example I use is what happened with the baby formula crisis. We put something on the floor as Democrats who try to alleviate this to actually get more produced. And what happened? The Republicans voted against it. And so Ukraine has a big factor in this, and we cannot deny it. But we have to look at what levers we could pull here at home as well to try and give consumers some relief here in the United States.
Right. We definitely need solutions and less finger pointing. Congresswoman Strickland, thank you as always for being with us on Morning in America.
Thanks for having me.